Hello and good morning. It is Thursday, the 25th of February 2021. My name is Steve Pugh, if you don't know each other. And one of the things that I'm here to kind of talk about today, you often see me do interviews with lots of business leaders and we talk about really kind of interesting topics and that kind of thing. I'm actually in the process of a bit of a beta launch for a business course that I'm launching called the Roadmap MBA. What is it? It looks at something a little bit like this. And basically for business owners who have a team, this will help upskill your team to help them more productive and teach them how to do everything from strategy, marketing, sales to really help drive your business forward. For entrepreneurs, it will help you get a competitive advantage and really help you, again, drive your business forward and give you a complete roadmap for what to do. And again, for kind of career professionals, it's also there again to act as a roadmap, just to kind of teach you things that it's often quite hard to learn anywhere else, in terms of things that you can do to help boost your career, sell more, be recognized by management. And there's a whole section on how we use your personal brand and actually just teach you some really good solid skills that are all real world practical skills that is specifically aimed at kind of SMEs. And the reason I do that is largely because actually in SME companies, often people have to wear multiple hats. So you might be very good at what you do. And in a company I spoke to the other day, they are a professional film company. They employ a team of maybe kind of 8 or so filmmakers, but none of them have necessarily been taught how to sell or how to develop business strategy and how to do all these great things to help drive that company forward. And that's essentially what the Roadmap MBA is all about. So if you want to check it out, check out roadmapmba.com. But one of the things that I was very conscious of is that with any business course, it's fine having the information because actually, it's useful for some people, but actually the real trick is how you then take that and implement it in your own business or career. And actually that is the thing that I think a lot of people miss. So on the website, which is roadmapmba.com, you have hundreds of videos which go into all the concepts in the book, and there's 216 pages, and it goes into kind of teach you the basics. But what I wanted to do, and what I'm going to start doing every Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, and it's now 9:04, is actually just start to answer real questions for real people about, they can send them into questions@roadmapmba.com. And basically what we're looking to do is actually help you take that next step forward, but in real practical steps which apply specifically to you, because I think actually that's the one piece that I think is often missing with business education. So if this isn't for you, please just click off. I apologize, but actually for the people that I want to help and work with, hopefully it's of use. So what I have is my whiteboard and my pens, and then I have a list of questions which I'm going to go through, which people have already submitted. But likewise in the chat, if any kind of comments come in, I can actually put them up on the screen and we can go live. But if they don't, I'm going to answer questions which I've kind of got through the week to help people make that next step forward. And you might see these more often. I'm still in the beta stage where I'm learning how often do I want to do this? How often do I want to do it on LinkedIn? Because I'm very conscious of your time and I don't want to annoy you if they start coming up every day. So I'm still going through this learning curve, but if it's useful or you want to ask any questions, please drop me a message. So the first question, which actually came in yesterday from a guy called Will. And the Roadmap MBA it's CPD certificated, which is from the basically the CPD Association. And if you are, so I'm a chartered mechanical engineer, and as part of my chartership, you had to show continued professional development through the course of your career. I was very hot when I was kind of designing the course that I've had some questions of, why would people care about the course? Why me? Why should you pay attention to this? So I almost wanted that independent approval and assessment, and someone's gone through this page by page. It took months, kind of December, January time, to really kind of get sign off and approval. It must admit, it did kind of make it better. But in answer to your question, well, yes, you can use the Roadmap MBA for up to 40 hours of your continued professional development to help towards your professional accreditations, that kind of thing. And the same would be true in HR or law or whichever. And then fortunately, because of the way I've tried to design it, is actually trying to make it applicable to lots of different areas. So I've designed the course to be a generalist course that can be used by a lot of people in a lot of different areas to really just tell you what you need to know, and not tell you stuff that you probably don't, in a form that you can kind of pick up for 2 minutes or 2 hours. So hopefully that answers your question, but if you've got any more, please drop them in. So the next two are a bit more in depth, so I've already kind of got my pens out. The first one is from a guy called Paul, and it was actually to do with how do you know as a freelancer which business opportunities to chase? This can be a difficult one to look at because there's so many variables that you should consider when you're actually starting to think about your business and how do you, who do you follow at different stages, if that makes sense. So I'm going to draw it out, and if you've got any questions, please just drop me a message. So there we go. So on basic level, the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually for any business, especially if you're starting out, because this question will tend to come at the start of someone's kind of business career, is knowing what to chase at the right time. So you will have a certain level of costs which you have to meet. For any business, this could be your overheads, it could be your rent, it could be your staff wages, it could be, that kind of thing that you need to meet a certain level just to kind of be able to pay your bills and actually have a viable business. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your opportunities at least more than cover your costs, especially when you're starting out. This is the kind of thing that it could be a contract which is, it might be a 12-month contract, which might be on a slightly lower day rate than what you might want. But actually what it does, it gives you the security to actually just make sure that you'll still be there in 6 months, a year's time. And for any business, it's always trying to balance the difference between making sure you've got enough income coming in to actually cover your bills and keep operating. And especially in a time like COVID, that's really important. Then almost once you have that baseline, so if you're a freelancer, you might choose to work 5 days a week. So if we keep it super simple, actually, so we'll do days. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you're trying to decide what to do, you might actually find when you do your maths that you need £2,000 a month to stay still and just to cover your costs and stay in business. And actually from one of your contacts or customers or that kind of your business development, you might actually find that within the first 2 days, this might take up, I guess it's 20% of your time and get you the £2,000 a month, or whatever it is you need to cover your costs. And that's a smart move because what it then does, it allows you to build for the future with some sort of confidence in actually what you're doing. The next phase is almost then when it starts to get more important. And this is where the question actually started to sit, was because actually if you get some opportunities which come in, which sound very lucrative, but they might never come off. So in this example, it was for almost like a business development type commission, where it could be great 1 month, then nothing. And the challenge you've always got is that when you have business opportunities which are higher risk but higher reward, they're great and they're definitely worth chasing, but always balance them against a steady baseline. And actually the more you have the baseline covered and that security of supply that you feel like you're building towards something, then you can chase the higher value opportunity. And the other thing which I kind of mentioned to Paul as well was that it's how you frame that business opportunity. So the company had come to him and said, look, we'll give you a finder's fee of X if we land this deal. But my point was actually how many of those deals, how much time does it take for you to actually find them? How many will fall over, etc. And what they're essentially doing is paying you a fee to do business development. And that fee, I'm going to guess, could be, I don't know, 5% of, I guess, 100 grand, whatever is kind of raised. But the question is, when you frame that back to the client, when you're trying to pitch and learn how to develop the opportunity, it's important to frame the fee that you would charge, either in commission or as a salary, against other alternatives. So in this example, a high value venture capital firm might employ business development people at 60 grand a year, which is obviously 5 grand a month, give or take, or maybe 6 if you add on all the extra costs and that kind of thing. So by comparison, in this example, Paul or whoever could say, look, I will do your business development for you. I will allocate 2 days a week to do business development for you in return for, say, £2,000 a month. And the point is, it's how you can reframe the same opportunity back to a client to solve their headache, but actually it gives you what you need, which is the security of income and supply. And it's that kind of thing of just never be afraid to kind of reframe the opportunity and what it is and how it works. in a way that could actually get you to what you want. If in this example you've already got your kind of baseline, then you can actually go for your high risk, high reward opportunities. But it's always important to model it too. So it was just something I wanted to kind of share back in case that was of interest. Okay, and the next one, which I'm going to touch on, so in this situation, I was asked that if you are a freelancer or you have a job or you decide to start a side hustle, how can you actually start this process and actually make sure that you communicate your message in a way that isn't confusing and actually kind of takes customers along with you? So I gave it some thought on what I was going to come up with. So in the center of any business is often the entrepreneur, or in this case, it could be the person who has a job and they want to start a Etsy side hustle to do design cards or wherever you wish. The challenge you always have is that how do you promote that business without confusing the message enough that your customers don't understand what it is that you do? So in the job example, you could be a solicitor by day, and then on weekends you do an Etsy shop or maybe Amazon. A lot of people do kind of drop shipping and sell products and that kind of thing. And actually the truth is, when you think about it, you can keep the two completely separate, and actually you never have to declare one to the other, if that makes sense. Because basically one audience will see this, and it's that particular audience who might buy things online or from Amazon, and that's one particular audience. Your audience for this might actually be completely different. The challenge comes when you have a very visible business, and it's how to make sure it all glues together. So for instance, for myself, my main income is consultancy. Then likewise, I'm launching with the Roadmap MBA. It's a business education course, which you'll see. But then likewise, one of the things that I was very conscious of, and this actually links back to earlier on, is to start the investing in scalable businesses which show ambition, where actually I can use my skills to help them grow in a way that either for sweat equity or whichever, I can add value to invest in a company to actually give more value in a way that I couldn't do otherwise, if that makes sense. So as a third part for me, you have investing. But the reason why I think this is comfortable is actually they all support one each other. So the skills from each support the other one. So hopefully it's a coherent message when you're kind of talking to people. The same could be true if you run events. So if you had a business that also did consultancy on the side, you have a very prominent event in the region, which you're very well known for. There's ways that you could then spin off apps and developments and websites, products and services that, as long as they fit in that sphere and kind of make sense, that's the best way to do it. And then likewise, if you wanted to start something which is completely different, which could be, I don't know, a fish and chip shop or a coffee shop or whichever from what you're kind of known for, you can either really embrace it and go for it, or just because they're a different audience, just treat them completely differently. And actually, it's just trying to find a coherent message. But the dream always is actually if you can make something kind of work. So we haven't had any messages come in on the chat so far. And likewise, it's only 16 minutes in. So I'm actually going to call it short today. The idea is that it's here for whenever you need me. You can kind of get in touch, and we'll go into, normally we'd have a guest on and we talk about different things, and we talk about their business and how we help challenge and help solve their kind of challenges. This is a 10-year thing for me. I'm still kind of finding my feet and trying to learn this new format and what works and what doesn't. I am in the process of doing the kind of rollout and gradually getting the course in people's hands to learn and improve and find what works and what doesn't work. And likewise for anyone else's business, never be afraid to kind of take your time and learn and see what works and then improve. And fortunately, it's one of those things that we had some issues with the postal service, that boxes were getting broken. So again, you can just learn and iterate and improve. And actually, that's one of the most important things to do. So this live stream, again, in this kind of format is again new to me. I'm going to learn, I'm going to improve, see what works, see what doesn't work. It could even be the time slot. My name is Steve. If you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch. And yeah, hopefully see you soon. All right, cheers, bye.